Jen, welcome to Recovery
Hey,
Rockstar's top
hey,
3 for
Kev.
recovery. How are you?
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm awesome. Thank you so much. I'm loving that I'm here today. So I can't wait to get stuck into it.
Can obviously people are going to detect you have a little bit of an accent. It's really cool because we're connecting and you're down under.
Yes, I'm from Australia. So you're catching me from old. Actually, I live not far from Byron Bay. So that's where all the big movie stars live. Chris Hemsworth and Liam Hemsworth and all those kind of people. So yeah, it's a beautiful part of the world. I'm really grateful that I live here. I'm very lucky. So yeah, coming
That's
from
awesome.
Australia.
And how cool is technology that we can connect and do
Oh, I
this?
love it. I love it. I love Instagram. It changed my life, changed my world, everything. It's just connected me with the most amazing people. And that's connected me with you. So I'm here.
And we're here and we're doing it. All right. So
Yeah.
I want to get into your story. How long have you
Yes.
been
Yes.
sober now?
Yes. Okay. So I guess I don't use the word sober so much. I didn't have a problem with alcohol. I had a problem with drugs. So and lots of other kind of addictions. So because I actually believe that addiction is distraction. So but my big drug of choice was I used methamphetamines.
Okay.
There was a real epidemic of it going around in my area at the time, and that was 13 years ago that I rehabilitated from that, and I've never used that since. But after that, I still struggled. I went into my recovery, but I didn't really fall into a 12-step recovery program. They're not really that big over here. They seem to be really huge over in like America.
Yeah.
But over in Australia, there's not a lot around that. It's still, a little bit whatever. You mostly go get sent to a shrink or something like that. My parents basically helped me to rehabilitate, and then I went into just other addictions. So I didn't really have a problem with. I used alcohol, but it was never like I could stop it, and it wouldn't bother me if I never picked it up again. But for
Right.
me, it was more like codependent relationships. So I had a lot of love addiction problems. So falling into narcissistic relationships, and also just smoking still and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, but as far as my big drug of choice, 13 years clean from that. I haven't used that for such a long time. But yeah, it's only been within the last, 2 or 3 years that I completely went, no more, this is enough, no more of anything at all, and really stepped into and truly started to embrace my recovery and then up level it to another whole different lifestyle completely.
So tell me, what does that process look like when you say you embrace your recovery to the fullest?
Well, what I actually believe is that my thinking was wrong, because I actually believe that this is what I believe now, which I'm bringing out to a lot of women, is that I wouldn't have ever thought that codependency is an addiction. I wouldn't have ever thought that, we look at addiction as if it's something that is actually a thing or a substance. It's not necessarily that. Addiction is distraction. And I believe that we live in the biggest pandemic of distraction in the world. So whether it's porn, whether it's sex, whether it's shopping, whether that's addiction, we're all falling the addiction scale somewhere. So when I started to really wake up to that and started realizing that the opposite of addiction was connection, and I started to really start to connect to my own recovery and not keep repeating the same behavioral patterns that were coming up in my life and ruining my life, I realized I had chronic low self-worth. And I felt like it wouldn't take much for me to fall back into addiction if I didn't deal with this problem. And I believe that this is where a lot of the problem is coming from toxic shame and low self-worth. So this is my message. This is what I'm bringing to the world now, to women in my.
I love that, because I feel like so many of us have low self-worth. I mean, myself included. I question myself all the time, and it's something that I struggle with on the daily, and I'm trying to put value on myself. But how do you do that?
Yeah. Oh, I certainly understand what you mean. And I do believe that I have a way to help women restore that, because I believe that's the core, that's the root issue. That's what we're not getting down to, because the thing is not the thing. Addiction is just a way to cover up pain. And I believe that part of my 3 that I'm going to tell you.
Let's get into it, actually. Let's go into it. So hit me up. Your top 3 for recovery. Number 1.
Yeah. Okay, my number 1. So I see it like this: an A.C.E, right? So I want to ace my recovery. Okay. So the number 1 thing would be awareness. Okay. So awareness that the addiction is not the thing. Okay. So addiction is just distraction. Okay. And becoming aware that we are basically like low self-worth, and addiction is just a symptom of shame. Okay, so we've got this toxic shame that we carry around, which comes from, trauma and abuse and all those kinds of things in our childhood that we haven't stepped into. So becoming aware of that, I believe, is the number one thing. So getting to the root. We're not getting to the, not treating the thing, not treating the addiction itself. That's a symptom of something deeper. So awareness of that, I believe, is what really helped me to really, really step into and embrace my recovery and start to enjoy that. Number two is connection. So connection to ourselves primarily. So getting back to who we are, because when we're kids, when the trauma takes place, we become fractured from our authentic self. We become disconnected from who we truly are because we can't face up to our primary caregivers or the trauma that happens. So we go internally, we blame ourselves, we have a problem with toxic shame. So we have to reconnect to our authentic selves. And then also connecting to God or source, or whatever that might mean to anyone. For me, it is my higher self. So recognizing that we are consciousness. So a lot of it is spirituality. Definitely believe in connecting to, so firstly yourself, nextly to your higher self or God or consciousness, and connecting with community.
Love it.
Because we can't do it alone. We can't go through this recovery alone. We're not supposed to feel this sense of isolation. So that's number two.
I want to repeat that. We cannot do this alone, period. We need connection.
No, we cannot.
We got the A, the C, and hit me up with number three, the E.
The E, evolution. Okay, so this is where you step into your purpose, your passion, and your mission, and that is to serve. Okay, so as we step into the final step, for me, this is what I take women through in my program. I go extend on those three things, but basically evolution. So you evolve into someone that you never were before, a stronger, more beautiful version of yourself. And part of that process is to find your passion and your purpose and your mission. And ultimately, we are actually put on this planet to serve. That brings us the most joy and connection. You look at Russell Brand now, he's doing that now through what he does. Okay, so service is the greatest thing. And it is the most deepest, I think, one of the deepest needs that we have as humans. And that's part of the connection. So they're my three biggest tips. A.C.E. So awareness, connection, evolution.
Okay, Jen. And if women or men want to connect with you to learn more about what you're doing, how can they find you?
Okay, you can find me on Facebook. I'm Jennifer Louise. So I'm a women's recovery coach, specializing in addiction and trauma and abuse. Women specifically. I don't deal with the guys. Sorry, I believe that we're biologically made up differently.
I threw out men. Hold on. What if a male is dealing with a female who might need your help? He could reach out to you. Right?
Absolutely. Send her my way. I'd love to help her. And on Instagram, I am the Jennifer Louise. So I mostly do everything out of Instagram. That's where I do most of my business and my marketing connecting is on Instagram, because I believe it is such a beautiful, diverse community. And that's how I met you. And this is, that's where that's my jam mainly, Instagram.
Well, Jen, I want to say thank you so much for coming on our top 3 for recovery. Thank you for your words of wisdom, your insights. You're an amazing person. Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Thanks so much, Kevin. Love to you.